Hi, I am Michelle, or Meditated Chef, and I just graduated from college at 33. Eh, I'm just kidding. I feel so accomplished. I feel so grateful. I feel so luxurious. I feel amazing. I feel splendid. I feel like I am the she's naive, as Scrappy would say. Um, but I feel great. And this is an alert that you can do whatever you put your mind to. Anything at all. You can change careers. You can leave that relationship. You can start over. You can start a business. You can lose weight. You can gain weight. You can learn how to drive race cars. You can become a cross-country runner. You can do whatever you set your mind to. Period. So, being that this is my bachelor's, I got my associates 2 years ago. I'm feeling like a boss. I'm feeling like that girl. Back and bounce, back and forth. Yes. So, master's is coming. Definitely. And I just kind of want to let you guys know that you are able to do whatever you want, whatever it is. So, let's talk about something. It ain't deep. Today I went grocery shopping for the month. And I got the majority, I took notes. I got the majority of my proteins, my fruits, and my frozen veggies. Basically everything I would need for a month. Mine is having to go get more like produce that's gonna go in the fridge, little one-off seasonings that I might find that I'm missing, or if I want to do something special. I got all my groceries, and I spent $211. But hear me out, that's gonna pretty much last me a month, and I think that is a good basis, especially for a single woman with no children who is trying to do well with her finances. Because that is part of wellness. Finances is part of wellness. Okay? It is. Because if you're stressed out about your money, you're going to stress eat. And you're going to stress eat bullshit. And we don't want that. Because we're trying to have good skin and perky boobs for the rest of our lives. Okay? Okay. So, that's going to eliminate the eating out. And because girl can easily spend $100 when she go eat out every time. And we're not doing it anymore. So, without groceries, I'm also going to be doing like little meal breakdowns for you. That's going to include macros. Most of my meals that I do throughout the week, especially work-wise, when I'm at work, that I can eat and come home and cook real quick, are relatively simple. Unless I'm just super stressed out and I want to decompress. Because for me, cooking detailed, like long, multiple processed meals from scratch is therapeutic. And for time purposes, I can always do that. Oh, but now I'm out of school, I'll have a little more time. At least for the summer. I'm probably going to start my master's in the fall, which is something that I'm really looking forward to. So, I told you about my groceries, and I'm going to do a video on that. And also, I'm going to show you how I break down like my bulk meats, since it's just me. And hopefully you can use some of these tips too, even if you do have, maybe it's just you and your child or you and your kids, but it'll still give you tips on how you can make it stretch. So we got that. Now I do want to tell you guys that I am going to be documenting, which is why I started back using YouTube, is I want to document me using some of the information I've learned in school. I am working on like a food diary, a food journal, to kind of help with my recall about what I eat. And I'm also going to be providing those macros of the meals that I create, just to kind of give myself an idea and a way to hold myself accountable, as well as share ideas. Because this is a two-way street, baby. If you have input, I would love to hear it. I would like to know what works well for you. And I'm gonna pull the science behind it. That's just the point that I've gotten to where I am now, where I like to go pull the science behind certain diets, eating ways, and lifestyles. I go pull the science behind it. This is not a plant-based channel. I do eat more plants than a lot of people. I love me some Brussels, some greens, some tomatoes, cucumbers. You're gonna see a lot of greenery, but we still gonna have our chicken, we still gonna have our steak. You're gonna see some salmon, you might see some scallops. You're gonna see a variety here, but I will include some meatless meals because that's important too, as well as supplements I'm trying, how they're working for me, and anything that encompasses wellness. So you're going to see me talking about how I get my water, which is I currently drink distilled water, which is what you will see me sipping periodically through this video. I love distilled water. And you can distill it right at home. That saves money over buying bottled water. Gym. So I'm all about wellness. So that whether that's spiritual, physical, financial, emotional, all of it. And so I just want to say how great my hair looks. I got distracted, but my hair looks great. Now, like this, I'm interested to see how this changes, because I am going to be eliminating processed sugar from my diet. So this, a lot of times, can be an indicator of a buildup of glucose or glycogen, that your levels are off, right? So this is usually indicative of a lot of sugar, or like you may be pre-diabetic and all that. But I've had my blood work drawn. They say it's fine, but I know that is a lot of times where that darkness comes from. Also, when you see people that a lot of times like will have like the darkness right here, that is usually can be a sign of diabetes, or that your hormones are off. Also, if you have like little straggly hairs or heavy menses or things like that. So I'm going to actually be documenting how this changes with coming off of processed sugars. So my goal is in the next 2 months, starting month 3, to be completely, as much as possible, off of processed sugar. And I want to see how this changes, because we love to put things on our skin. We love to do things externally, but what influences everything that you see? What you put in there. Literally, what you eat influences everything. So that is something that I'm going to be working on. And I'm just being transparent with that with you guys. So, food, financial wellness, spiritual wellness, mental health. Got a therapy appointment on Tuesday. So glad to be back in this thing. And also, I just want to share a quick little spiritual moment. So, yesterday, getting ready for graduation, I was freaking out, had shoes, didn't like the shoes, decided I want to go to Walmart, give me some flat sandals or some comfortable sandals so I wouldn't be like about to fall at graduation. And I was really kind of stressed out and worried because guess what? I was running late for graduation. So as I'm leaving out of Walmart, the lady at the front has the same name as my grandmother who's no longer here. And then that kind of, made me put a smile on my face. And then when we are at the restaurant after graduation, me and my friends, we run into another lady with the same name as my grandmother. And that was just so heartwarming. So it just made me feel like she was here, even though she could not have been here. Because when she passed, she was like, okay, Michelle, before she passed, she wasn't able to come to my associate's graduation. And so I went to her house. I was like, how you not going to come to my graduation, Grandma? She was like, baby, I'm just so tired. I just hadn't been feeling well. And at this point, we knew she had cancer, whatever. And she was like, I'll be at the next one. And, 2 months later, she passed. I was like, she told me she was going to be at my dad's graduation and she wasn't there. Big baby. I'm a grandma baby. I am a grandma's baby. I love my grandma to death. Okay? I love my grandma to death. To life. I love the mess out of my grandma. I still do. She's still, like, I have mementos from her all over. Like, I have teddy bears, jacket, what? That was my baby. So, so it was just sprinkles of her throughout the day. Like, little reminders of her throughout the day. And so it felt like she was there. She may not have been there physically, but she's there in spirit. Her blood runs through my veins, so she's always with me, Your ancestors are within. So it was beautiful to be reminded of her throughout the day. Yeah. But anywho, before I get too far gone, be sure to subscribe if you want to follow this journey with me. Yeah. 2025, I just graduated college. It wasn't as cool as when Megan did it. But it's okay. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Bye. Your hormones are off. Also, if you have like little straggly hairs or heavy menses or things like that. So I'm going to actually be documenting how this changes with coming off of processed sugars. So my goal is in the next 2 months, starting month 3, to be completely, as much as possible, off of processed sugar. And I want to see how this changes, because we love to put things on our skin. We love to do things externally, but what influences everything that you see? What you put in there. Literally, what you eat influences everything. So that is something that I'm going to be working on, and I'm just being transparent with that with you guys. So food, financial wellness, spiritual wellness, mental health. Got a therapy appointment on Tuesday. So glad to be back in this thing. Um, and also, I just want to share a quick little spiritual moment. So, yesterday, getting ready for graduation, I was freaking out, had shoes, didn't like the shoes, decided I want to go to Walmart, give me some flat sandals or some comfortable sandals so I wouldn't be like about to fall at graduation. And I was really kind of stressed out and worried because guess what? I was running late for graduation. So as I'm leaving out of Walmart, the lady at the front has the same name as my grandmother who's no longer here. And then that kind of, made me put a smile on my face.